Hi. Yes, it's me. I don't know if you remember who I am, but I used to make videos on this channel. I'm gonna do that now again. I apologize for my absence. I don't have a valid explanation outside of depression, so... yay. But as far as content goes, I think this might be a good way to kick off my return to this channel. You see, this is gonna be like shooting fish in a barrel. Conveniently, all facts are on my side when it comes to this discussion. So there's a Democratic state representative in Illinois, the fine state of Illinois, named Marcus Evans.
Walker met with Illinois State Representative Marcus Evans in January, and from there, legislation was drafted to amend a 2012 law preventing some games, including Grand Theft Auto, from being sold to children in Illinois.
House Bill 3531, which will ban these video games and send a message.
Now, as a person who's named Mark, I resent that. I know I don't share the full name, but I don't like, it's close enough to where I feel uncomfortable, you know? But I can only begin to imagine how viewers of mine in Illinois feel about being represented by this jackass. So, to any people in Illinois watching this video, my condolences. But hey, let's get into the video.
In just the last few days, 3 teens have been arrested for carjackings in Chicago.
Fun fact, this is actual footage of the event. That's why they're showing this. They're not showing this to scare dumb boomers into thinking that it's the evil, violent video games. I can't do an old person voice, but you know what I'm getting at. I guess like the closest thing that I can do is like, what was I talking about? I think I'm actually going senile. I don't think I'm gonna have to put on a voice for long. Eventually, that's just gonna like be my normal demeanor, just like,
People have been saying for months now that teens are running around the city and carjacking people like it's a video game.
You know what I hate? When teenagers actually do something kind of cool, and it's supposed to be a bad thing. Like, of course I feel bad for the people being carjacked. I mean, I would not wish that upon... Actually, I would wish it upon some of my worst enemies, but, you know, generally speaking, it's a bad thing. I understand that. You know, I feel bad for those people. Fine, assuming they don't deserve it, which I would assume most of them didn't. Maybe there's like one guy who's a total prick. I bet his name is Phil, and he owns a deli. I don't know why. That's such an oddly specific thing, but it's just like what came into my sick head for some reason. But when a teenager gets off his fat ass and actually does something kind of interesting, like steal a car, I'm supposed to be shocked by that. I'm supposed to look at this and go like, oh my god, maybe I shouldn't be playing these video games. I mean, I'm not a teenager at this point, despite my appearance, but you know, maybe these games are bad. Maybe there's something evil going on. Maybe a company like Rockstar Games should be heavily regulated because, you know, some idiot stole a car and when they went through his room, they found like Grand Theft Auto 3 on the PS2.
But now local lawmakers are doubling down on that idea, saying that video game should be banned.
Tia Ewing has more.
Don't you love that? Don't you love the irony of American lawmakers wanting to ban something? Like, isn't this supposed to be like the land of the free and the home of the brave? What's brave about this? You're being a bunch of f***ing pussies. And furthermore, isn't America supposed to be like a bastion of freedom? Is there actually anything even remotely free about any of this?
The carjacking suspects...
Did he just call him Jumanji? Hold on. Jumanji, we finna run out of gas. Well then, that's a thing somebody said at some point, I guess. Okay, alright.
The carjacking suspects aren't even old enough to drive.
To survive, they have to set up and pull off a series of increasingly audacious heists.
Philanthropist Early Walker says violent video games like Grand Theft Auto could be influencing their young minds.
I love the phrasing there, philanthropist. Like, just say rich like, why would you not just call him a rich, like, local rich jackass said this? But instead, they have to sugarcoat that with, like, oh, well, he's a philanthropist. You know, like, occasionally he'll donate to some charity somewhere. Okay, I mean, like, that's all well and good, but so what? What authority does this person have on the matter? Oh, yeah, that's right, none. Who cares? Him. And you, Fox. I know for a fact you guys were like at the forefront of this argument. Back in the 2000s, you had people like Bill O'Reilly and Megyn Kelly freaking out over Flash games.
Someone's idea of fun is called Torture Game 2. It puts your child in the driver's seat to torture a make-believe hanging person with anything from a chainsaw to a razor blade. Understandably, child experts worried about the game's potential impact on kids. Will it make impressionable youngsters numb to torture?
And then, of course, when Manhunt 2 happened and people freaked out over that, Megyn Kelly went on Fox News and had like an entire segment dedicated to exaggerating about the gameplay mechanics. You know, she would say stuff like, you know, your child, little young Billy, is gonna hold up the axe, and as the innocent man on the floor begs for mercy, he'll mercilessly stab him in the f***ing head.
When you play this game on Wii, as opposed to Nintendo or PlayStation, you actually do the stabbing. So you grab the knife, you are over your victim, plunging the knife into the victim as you play the game.
And then your son will say, "Hail Satan," and a black hole will spawn in the middle of the living room. And out of that black hole emerges Lemmy from Motorhead. And he'll look your son in the eyes and say, "There's nothing wrong with being gay." And then he'll vanish. And then your life will be ruined because you didn't watch enough Fox News. You were not prepared for a situation like this. And by the way, I am Megyn Kelly, and I am stupid.
Philanthropist Early Walker says violent video games like Grand Theft Auto could be influencing their young minds.
Does anyone else feel like they've said this before? Because I do. I vaguely recall somebody at some point making some kind of argument about the children.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
And it's never somebody who's like 19 playing a video game. Someone who's a teenager but close enough to being recognized as an adult that nobody cares. It's always some dumb kid, like some dumb 13-year-old is gonna boot up GTA 5 on the PS whatever the latest one is. I don't know, I'm getting old. And subsequently, he's gonna go on a killing spree, and then, you know, he'll end his spree with pissing on the Statue of Liberty, simply because he carjacked a bunch of pixelated characters in a fictional city. I mean, give me a f***ing break. What is this? Like, does this qualify as news in America? Isn't there like a big eviction thing happening in the middle of a pandemic where a bunch of people are freezing to death? But never mind that. Never mind anything of actual substance. This is what people should be concerned about. And I know that somebody in the comment section is gonna say, "Well, you're making a video about it now, aren't you?" Yes, I am, and I'm not the news. I'm not this media institution that is supposed to inform the public about the current events of the community. You get it? I'm just some idiot on the internet making videos where I complain about stuff. That's my role in society. So excuse me if I, for some dumb reason, have higher expectations of the media.
There are instances in the game where an individual pulls up to a car, bumps the car, taps the car, gets out, pulls the individual out of the car, carjacks the car, pulls off.
Different versions of Grand Theft Auto have been banned or censored in 5 different countries, but never in the United States. This past Friday, a former police officer was carjacked in his own driveway in the south suburbs.
Really? Cool. I mean, oh no, that's horrible. I feel so bad for him. Cops are awesome. I love cops.
An expert told us the game can be the cause of violence, but it isn't the only factor.
An expert told you this could be the cause. Who? F***ing who? Who said this? And what's their reasoning? And what evidence do they have to corroborate this claim?
Should it be banned? I think so.
Oh God. Okay. So this is the expert. I know, don't judge a book by its cover, but really? Like, this is him. Like, what do you think, dumb boomer who nobody ever cared about or will ever give a f*** about? Oh, you know, I think it should be banned.
However, there's probably lots of reasons for theft and lots of reasons for violence.
Tia Ewing, Fox 32 News.
So, that's it. That's your segment on the violent video games and carjackings. You know, I noticed something. Never once in this story, and never once in any of the interviews where I've seen Marcus Evans talk about this, has anyone even vaguely implied that this is a failure on the community's part. As the media, and as somebody who's a state representative, somebody who represents this state, isn't it your responsibility, kind of, to reflect the actual reality of the situation and explain to people that this is actually a failure on the part of the community and not just an evil video game that, like, magically corrupts the minds of youths? I don't know if you know this, Marcus. I don't know if you know this, Fox News, but all of the facts, and I mean all of them, actually prove the contrary, that violent video games don't make people more violent. As these games have gotten more popular, youth crime has gone down. Something that actually makes me kind of sad, and I want to show this, and again, it's gonna tie into my condolences going out to the viewers I have who live in Illinois. So this is a press release that Marcus Evans released on Twitter about 3 or 4 days ago. I'm not gonna read read the whole thing, but there's something on the bottom that stood out to me. Rep. Evans' committee assignment list is a small peek into his policy subject area interest, which includes criminal justice reform, gun violence prevention, home ownership protection/help, women's rights and equality, energy and utility regulations, local government support. Mr. Evans, with all due lack of respect, let me ask you this. Does anything that I just mentioned have anything at all to do with Grand Theft Auto 5? Like, really ask yourself, like, am I representing the people of Illinois the way I should? Am I spending my time in government productively? Am I actually helping my community? I don't think so. I think either A, you're dumb and just wrong, or B, you're misinformed and just wrong, or C, you're dishonest and just wrong. So pick your poison, sir. Oh, there's a little bit of video left. Let's see.
Now, we did reach out to the makers of Grand Theft Auto. Rockstar Games never responded to our request for this story.
Well, why would they? It's a total waste of time. Something else that I noticed is at no point did they mention anything with Jack Thompson. I wonder why. I wonder why they would not mention any of the fine things that Mr. Thompson and the Peaceaholics accomplished. And by accomplished, I mean failed to do on every conceivable level, to the extent that they walked away in shame and never made any public appearances following that. Why not mention that? I know some people are gonna say, well, who cares? Like, you know, one state representative feels this way. Well, no, actually, some of his colleagues feel the same way. And I've seen people on various social media platforms actually defend his position on this. Usually what they'll say now is, well, it's not just the video game, but it's the video game plus maybe something else on the side. I don't know. Okay, well, what's the other thing? Is it a failing mental health care system? No, never mind that. Oh, is it like local community officials failing to give these kids the support they need? Well, nah. Okay, well, what is it then? What's the root cause of this? And at that point, they just give up on the conversation. They're just kind of like, oh, I don't like being proven wrong by strangers on the internet, so I'm gonna go f*** myself. Bye. So now we're having this discussion again, and honestly, I look forward to it. I miss it. I miss having an argument where I know for a fact that I'm totally right about everything. It's an amazing feeling. It's like, it's almost as good as Kojima, really. But yeah, it feels good to be back. I think I'm gonna make more videos like this from now on, because it's a bit more interesting than watching some gameplay in the background. I don't know. You be the judge. Let me know how you feel about that in the comment section below. Oh, and by the way, see this paper sign on my wall? Lactose Dominus! So I'll tell you what, in the video info down below, you can find a link to my Streamlabs. Go to that page, type in a message, give me a few bucks, and I'll pick out a random person and put whatever they wrote on my wall, assuming that it's not, you know, gonna get me in trouble with YouTube or anything. Again, link down below. I really need cash. And actually, if you have some questions, if you're not interested in putting a piece of text on my wall, just type in a question and make sure to include your Twitter username or Discord name, and I'll get back to you. We could have a little chit-chat. Why not? Anyway, that's it for this video. You folks, as always, stay classy. Peace.
They say that kids imitate characters in video games, but I have yet to become a mustached plumber.